I'm going to explain the level with drawing, where instead of clicking on buttons or placing points on the screen, you actually go to make a sign like a triangle or a circle to give the information back to the algorithm. I'm going to demo you how this works and explain what I'm doing as I'm doing it. So as a reminder, on the top here you have the place where I'm entering the 4-digit code. On the middle you have the machine asking you what your current digit you're trying to type, what color it is, and in the bottom here you see that I have a small pencil and I'm gonna be able to draw shapes. And what I have to do is I have to decide, again you are deciding, I am deciding what is going to be the shape I'm going to use to mean yellow and what is going to be the shape I'm going to use to mean gray. And to make it easy to remember, for yellow, I'm going to draw some sort of a Y, okay, so Y letter. And for gray, I'm gonna just draw, a square. That's my arbitrary definition. It's I deciding that, and you might be deciding to use, a vertical line and a horizontal line, or a triangle and a circle. Or you can try and draw a flower. Whatever drawing you want to use could be used there. In our case, I'm going to type the code 1, 2, 3, 4, and I'm going to use a Y letter for yellow and a square for gray. So I'm looking at the digit 1, which is the one I want to type first. It's yellow, so I'm doing a Y letter for yellow. Here you see that already there is a lot of things that popped out, especially in the bottom. One is to show the history. So that means it shows you that for the first click you did, you drew a Y, that's a drawing, and we'll see that there will be more information on that later. And on the bottom left, there is a show map button that will be a kind of a map like we've seen for the touch level where we have to place point on an area. This is kind of what the algorithm is doing, it's kind of placing this Y on a map. We'll come back to those maps once we identify the first digit. So I just typed a 1. The Y turned, instead of being dark black, it's now light gray. That means it's ready to take another sign. So 1 is yellow again, so I'm going to draw another Y. 1 is gray, so I'm going to draw a square. 1 is yellow, so I'm drawing a Y. A square for gray. A square for gray. And you see that you don't have to be exactly precise in what you draw. It's a square for gray again, a Y for yellow, a Y for yellow. And this takes a bit more time because, representing those drawings is harder for the machine. A Y for yellow, a square for gray. And now the machine identified the first digit. So indeed, I was trying to type a 1 and the machine is right. And if we look at the history now, you see that the machine assigned colors to my signs. And so it decided, because it identified I was trying to find a 1 and it made all these internal processes that are described in the tutorials, that this shape, that it doesn't know it's a Y, it just knows it's a shape, this Y is related to yellow. So it basically learned the association between a sign and the concept of yellow, of the color yellow. And he understood that the square, you see all the squares are gray and all the Y are yellow. So it kind of learned the association between a sign and a color. And if you look at the map is how it represented on a map. You see that it has put so on this simplistic map, we don't really know what this means, but that's an internal representation that the machine has of those drawings, and kind of grouped together all the squares. So he learned that squares are like squares, and he learned that Y letters are like Y letters, and he learned how to differentiate them. So now it should be a bit faster if we keep doing squares and yellow to type number 2. Number 2 is gray, so I'm typing a square. Number 2 is gray, I'm typing a square. It's gray again, I'm typing a square. And now it's yellow, I'm typing a Y. And already with 4 new signs, it found out it's number 2. I'm going to do number 3. So it's yellow, it's gray, so it's a square. And just at this intermediate stage, we're gonna inspect the history, where you see that it doesn't yet know, it's not yet 100% confident that this is yellow or gray. It could be, but like we're not officially yet sure of what this means. And on the map, however, on the map we kind of know that, oh well, it's very likely, because this yellow is among the yellow and this square is among the gray, that this is gonna be, all the hypotheses that sinks, all the hypotheses, remember the previous tutorials, all the hypotheses that think that this square is actually yellow are not likely to be valid. So that's the representation we have. So I keep going for my number 3, it's yellow, it's gray, so I draw a square. And we identify number 3, and I'm gonna finish with number 4. I'm gonna make more extreme shape, but it's a gray, so it's a square. It's a big yellow. It's a small yellow because I want to, and it's a small yellow. And that's it. I've written and decided to type 1, 2, 3, 4 by arbitrarily deciding that I'm going to use a Y, a drawing of a Y to mean yellow, and a drawing of a square to mean gray. In the history, we have all those drawings correctly labeled, and they are all, we have a classifier that allows to differentiate them. So what we've learned, again, is that all the previous levels that you've seen with dots, with buttons, are a simple case of what the machine can do, and in that case, we've been able to use drawings. So drawings are already a much more advanced way to communicate with the machines, and they are much more personalized for every person. Like the type of drawing you can think of will really vary between one and the next person. So I encourage you again to try to type different codes by using different signs to mean yellow and gray, and you can try using 2 types of sign to mean yellow and 2 types of sign to mean gray, and try to challenge a machine into making mistakes or making letters like that are similar but hard to differentiate, and try to see how the machine finds it out really. So you have links provided below this video.